I want to see you get excited and worked up for once.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, you have tuned in to the adventures of Porno Man.
In my hot, wet, juicy, nasty.
Do what with your what?
On your knees.
Oh my.
Service me now.
I'ma grow up to be a dirty old man, kicking it up and still flirt like I can, pretending to drop shit to girls in the hand, and bend over to pick it up while I hurry get a glance up the skirt to see that pretty little ass, thinking things to embarrass in the ass, like who's at your butt? Oh, is that just how you cover your backs? Shall we shack now or shack later?
So I was thinking about something that happened to me a while ago that relates to relationships in general as well as lifestyle. And that is, whose responsibility or fault is it about what happens in a couple's relationship? So I'm going to talk a little about it. I'm going to tell you a story that relates to this. So the base of this is that the only people who are responsible for that relationship to work are the people who are in the relationship. Blaming and or wanting to seek out the person the third person who's cheating with your spouse or whatever is ultimately stupid. That person did not make any commitment to you or has any obligation to you to give a shit about your feelings one way or the fucking other. And why it might be bad karma, bad taste, they don't owe you a goddamn thing. They're trying to get what they think is good in whatever form that it happens to be that you're trying to get it. Whether it's sex only, they're trying to take them from you or not. The reality simply is that they are not responsible for your relationship. Only you and your mate are. If your mate cheats, it is not on the other person, it is on your mate. They're the ones who pledged loyalty and fidelity and all those other things that they said they would or would not do. That being said, the person who is the other, if you didn't know anything about it, if you didn't know they were with someone, or they gave you the feeling that it was on the way out between them and the other their spouse or whatever, okay, you're probably going to be able to have a clear conscience. But if you pursue that individual, if you actually knew that they were with someone in a serious relationship and continue to try to be with them, you are kind of a piece of shit. I totally justify one now, don't get me wrong. By all means, you want what you want and you're willing to do what it takes to get it, by all means, do you. But the reality simply is that you know that you are causing complications in a situation. And if you're okay with that, if you're okay with how the universe is going to pay you back down the road, knock yourself dead. But for the couple, there really isn't anything that gets around the fact that your mate is the one who needs to be held responsible. Your mate is the one who made the promise. And I don't care what the other person did. I don't care what they promised. I don't care how they enticed your pussy stupid motherfucker to come and give her that dick that was only supposed to be yours. They can't make him do anything he didn't want to do. I don't care what the temptation is. I'm a swinger, and I am pussy stupid. And I've gotten to the point where because I know that about myself, and even though I have the permission of my wife to do just about anything I want, I always try to make sure I run things past her first, and I watch the temptation that's being offered me. If it seems too good to be true or to be realistic, then I will turn that down as fast as I can and move the fuck away. I know I'm weak. I know that my instinct is to go for it. And because I know that about myself, I do what I need to do to try to stay away from it. And this is for somebody who actually has permission to kind of go and do what he wants to do. So you guys, if you know that your, and women too, but guys, if you know that your knee-jerk reaction is to jump all over the chick who's flirting with you and acting like she's trying to give you some, and you don't step away from that as soon as you can, don't blame her. It was a mistake. You fell on into the pussy and all that bullshit. Dude, you had your chance. You know who the fuck you are. Even if your wife don't, you do. So, that's all on you. So the reason that I'm talking about this is that a couple of years back, there was this woman, and she came onto my radar because she was really good to another friend of mine. Her and her husband used to pick a friend of mine up and make sure she got out and about. And so as I learned that and started paying more attention to her social media posts and things of that nature, I became a little bit more interested. And in my talking with her, there was the possibility of her husband, me, and my wife to get together. But for a variety of reasons, that wasn't moving nearly as quickly. In the course of our talking, she talked about the possibility of us hooking up, just the two of us for now, and the four of us down the road. Now, I specifically asked her would her husband know, and our lifestyle, for those who are not in it. It's all about respect and having some boundaries. I know a lot of people think when you're a swinger everything's kind of a free-for-all, but that's not really it. So I asked her, will he know? Now, prior to me asking her this, one of the things that got me feeling fairly good about possibly playing with is that she seemed to be greatly concerned to make sure that her husband, who was kind of on the bigger side, would get equal attention from my wife as she might get from me. The fact that she was concerned with that and seemed greatly concerned with it was a good sign for me. It made me feel like it was a kindred spirit and that she cared about her husband. There was a strong relationship and something that my wife and I could possibly delve into, having good friends, and we all understand that we are friends who have casual sex, but that the relationship, the prospective relationships were strong and intact, and everyone knew their bounds. So when I say, is he going to know? Make sure that he knows and all. She assured me that she was going to tell him and all that, and so I had no reason to disbelieve her. So we did end up meeting, and we hooked up, and I filmed it, and we had a good time that day. Not too long after we did, she kind of comes up to me and says, well, this has to be our secret. Huh? What? I was so blown that, one, she deceived me, and two, that she turned out to be another one of those people who decide to go for what she wants without really considering the consequences for, one, her husband, and two, ultimately, all the people involved, because that is a serious potential for drama. Because if that ever came out that it happened, again, the first person that might, in all likelihood, going to look at is me, as if I did something wrong. Which could, two males, that could end up going a lot further than just being mad or maybe shouting out a few names. My biggest problem, however, was that it was dishonest. And it spoiled my, everything I started to feel for this person, and really ruined the situation for me, which was saying something, because it was a nice time. And again, this is in a swinging situation. Something like this is going to be even more worse, and one where there was no hall pass or special permissions given or anything along those lines. People do the things that they do and either outright don't give a shit about the repercussions or just don't think about them at all. I've seen guys from back in my hood, back in the day, die over what happened between him and some other dude and some chick. At any rate, I guess all this comes down to say that honesty is the best policy, number one, and two, know who absolutely is responsible for the well-being of your relationship. That person on the outside who's just trying to get what they want, they don't owe you shit. And you shouldn't act like they owe you shit. And don't call them a homewrecker. Don't call them a Jezebel or whatever the hell is supposed to fit that scenario. Because the person you should be mad at, the person you should be confronting, is the one who actually made some kind of a promise to you. The person on the outside ain't make shit to you. Fuck you and the horse you rode in on. You need not ever think that somebody on the outside relationship owes you a goddamn thing. Not loyalty, not nothing. Nothing. And while I think that a person should feel something about stepping into a situation like that, just because I feel that way doesn't make it so. They get to do what the fuck they want to do. And if your mate was fucking too stupid or selfish or short-sighted or whatever to give a shit about what would happen if you found out and your feelings for it, then that ain't their problem. That's your spouse. And I guess I'm kind of done talking about this, and that's my take.
That mean you a dirty whore? So by me just telling you more to give a big arm and stand an ovation. Guess I was just born to porn. Let me ask you something, baby.
Smack my ass.
Do I make you horny?
Smack my ass like you mean it.
Do I? Yeah!
Well, the scenario, and can she go? Jenny Jane the song, I love a girl that swallows.
That had the answer. Yes, a bunch of mama said I'm too young. Need a porn is alone, boy, now corrupt.